Good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the Papa Joe Show, where Papa Joe knows. I am your host, Papa Joe. I'm joined today with Sharon. We're going to continue digging through the documents and whatnot that we have found on some suppressed history and various different topics and stuff, whatnot. It's been a little bit of a week. I had some travel in the way, so I do apologize. Sharon, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Fantastic. So, we were talking before the show about UN numbers, the UN numbers on all of these documents. And you wanted to dig into that real quick and we're going to squirrel, folks, just so everybody knows.
Well, we've got two different UN ID numbers. And
Okay.
so when I started looking, I was like, what in the world? So there's a UN ID of 626139.
So
That comes out to be a business registration number with the UN.
Okay. Can I pull this stuff up right here?
Yeah,
Should
you
I?
can. Yeah, no, you can. It was like there's like Excel sheets, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, hang on. I forgot to share the screen before pulling it up. Sorry, y'all. Screen. So if you see, there we go. Okay, so just randomly pick like what a resolution or.
You can pick any one because the numbers are the same. That was the one thing I was going through was like, okay, do any of these, but these are actual UN ID numbers.
There's another resolution, by the way.
Oh, well, we'll take a look at that one once we go through these numbers. So the UN ID appears to be a business registration number. So if you would put in UN space ID :6, and you can see these, it's right underneath the International Treasury Monetary One. All that information underneath.
So there's UNID right here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't highlight it because, well, it's secure. And then there's another one
at the very end of the document.
So these are two separate entities?
From what I can tell, there's something really fascinating that businesses are registering with the United Nations.
Now, is that an automatic thing that happens?
I just started digging into it, and it was like pages and pages. And to look at all the businesses that are registered, there was an Excel spreadsheet. So if you typed in the UN ID number,
I can't copy paste, so recall it out to me.
Okay, so it's UN space ID :, 626139.
Digitallibrary.un.org. So monetary1.org, that was the other website. SPDR is part of the International Financial Institution of International Treasury Monetary One Registry. Interesting. Okay, so this is monetary1.org.
So there's one that'll take you right to the United Nations.
Yep, that's this guy right here.
And then you can start searching for these companies.
So browse subjects. This is where's the translate button. Translate this page. Translate to English. Yes. UN bodies, General Assembly. Browse subjects. I'll have to go look through this. This is interesting.
Yeah, so there's, and I was like, this is like, wow. So when
I don't feel like I'm seeing what you're describing. Maybe this isn't the right one.
Oh, no, because it actually took me in. It was.
I'm going to do Google. I hate using Google for searching, but let's see what happens, huh?
And then there's that other UN number that might take you someplace else.
United Nations, official international treasury control. I'm looking at the websites before I open them. This is the number of the treasury. These are the documents. International Treasury Monetary 1. This is a Russian website. The only UN, although maybe I need to do that. Digital key. Order today, ships. Nope. Okay, I'll dig into this a little bit. I don't see, unless you can have the calling out. Okay, no, I'm not seeing.
All right, let me see what
you described. See if you can remember it, maybe. Other than this right here, this United Nations Digital Library. Unless there's a search here.
Yeah, try the search, because I was like looking into stuff like, what in the heck is this library? So if that's how they digitize their documents with the UN,
maybe. Is this what you're referring to? Stuff like this?
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff, and then they actually had like an Excel spreadsheet.
So this looks. I can't make that language out.
That looks like it's Arabic. Yeah, it's Arabic.
Doop. There's 32 pages. Let's see. Okay. That's not making sense. This is a PDF. Browsing. Doop. Authorities. This is Espanol, English, PDF. Pull up. Yeah, I don't want to download anything from the UN on my computer. Yeah, let me look at this before.
Okay, so, all right, I know what I was looking at.
Okay.
It was UN Secretariat, Registered Vendors, UN Procurement Division. That's where my search had taken me. So it's under www.un.org. And so it was the UN Secretariat, Registered Vendors, UN Procurement Division.
Hang on.
And so that's where I saw this spreadsheet of all their vendors and companies that are registered vendors of the UN.
Search. Nope, that's not what I want. I am there. I am searching the whole number.
And so I had just gone UN space ID space and then the number. And you got to go down. It's deep down in the search.
Hang on. Hang on. I am going to put this back. So you did the search here.
You could look up UN Secretariat Registered Vendors. And it's Secretariat like in the horse, Secretariat.
Okay, hang on. So UN what?
UN space ID space 626139.
Yep.
And like because I was on Google or DuckDuckGo, I had to go to the second page to actually get to that UN address. Like I said, the UN.org, to actually get to the department's procurement and da-da-da.
I found it. Let's see, maybe. And is this what you're referring to?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I just had to type the stupid thing right. Oh, so this is a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my computer dies. Sorry, folks. I'll be back.
So I was thinking, okay, so we have a registered vendor because that number relates to these registered vendors because it's an ID. So
It's so tiny that, or I'm getting old.
no, it's tiny. And so I'm thinking there's a lot to the UN that most of us are really unaware of.
Wow, y'all, this is like, I'm showing 16,546 entries. These are, what is this level 1 thing? I see level 1, level 2, registry levels. I don't know what that means. Country of origin. Let me see if I can share this screen too. Okay, so this is not, let's see, entire screen. No. Well, doggone it. Let me see something here. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Stand by. Let me find the file. There it is. It's a little known trick. As long as it still works. Let's see if it still works. Come on. Open. No, it's going to actually download that. I don't want it to download. I want it to open. Sorry, y'all. I'm literally doing this live, so.
Well, we kind of told
it's not letting me pull the
off.
stupid. Yeah, we did tell. Yeah. Let's see if this.
You can just, double speed it through this.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. It's a little bit of this. Okay, so maybe this might be helpful. Pull this here. Okay. So this is on the so you get the vendor registration button here. This, I can't share a specific application in here. There is that limitation. I can do slide. No, that's not right. Yeah, I can't share a specific application. So I need to figure that out for you guys. So, but yeah, we can drop this in the Telegram channel and everyone can go look at it themselves. I would suggest that. So the below spreadsheet contains a list of companies registered at level 1 and level 2 as a supplier of the United Nations Secretariat, UNHQ, offices away from headquarters, regional commissions, special tribunals, and field missions. Basic level registrations are not included in the attached file. So there's the file. I have that here. But this is where this goes. UN Secretariat, as most of the UN system or as most other UN systems organizations, uses the United Nations Global Marketplace, or the UNGM, which I want to find out what that is real fast, since it is a link.
And how many people are aware of that? So it's almost like all of this, and it's talked about.
Wow.
Yeah, right. That's the stuff I was finding. Yeah.
Tender alert services. Okay. Interesting. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
As its platform of vendor registration, vendors may select the level of registration based on the business activity they wish to participate in. That best matches their capacity, business's scope, and commercial strategy. Why register to do business with the United Nations Secretariat? So, is there a difference between the UN and UN Secretariat?
There's so much information in here.
Yeah.
That.
So,
Aaron, okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just when I got into this and started reading and looking and going, we are so unaware of the bigger scope because, and Cliff High talks about the Tavistock Institute for Human Relations, the Committee of 300 All right, the Club of Rome and the Olympians, they already know how they're going to do all this and keep all the little minions busy. And they, and I posted it in the Telegram because one of their things is called long range penetration strain. All right. It is the art of subjugating a very large group of people to continued long range penetration strain was developed by scientists working out of the Tavistock Institute for Human Relations. Okay. And so the theories, and this comes from a document called The Changing Images of Mankind, which is how to propagandize the populations. And what happens is that, for instance, here he goes on to say, Dr. Kurt Lewin, the scientist who developed this fiendish warfare, has caused the average American patriot to fret over various conspiracy theories, leaving him or her with a feeling of uncertainty and insecurity. What's going on right now?
That sure sounds an awful lot like what's going on right now.
And I'm just like, y'all, stop it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go. Leaving him or her with feelings of uncertainty and insecurity, isolated and perhaps even afraid as he or she searches but fails to understand the decay and rot caused by, from this document, it's called The Changing Images of Mankind, unable to identify or combat the social, moral, economic, and political changes he or she deems undesirable and does not want, yet which increase in intensity on every hand. What are we witnessing?
Sounds an awful lot like what we're going through right now.
Okay. And so it goes on that basically they are getting Americans to the point that they are so apathetic. It was like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. Why vote? Tavistock and their people, the Stanford Research Institute, well, right here in America, guess what? And eugenics kids did not start in Germany. I've got a book from 1906. It started in Chicago. Thank you. The U.S. is corrupt as.
They are. This is the Patreon. I don't think little kids watch this.
So, with everybody,
if they do, let me know.
Right. In fact, do I even have it right here? It's on my desk. It is 1906, and it's published in Chicago. So everybody's like, "Oh, Hitler and his eugenics." I was like, "You all need to go back and start reading because it started here in the United States."
History. Everyone thinks that's history. It's not. I mean,
it's not.
If the very little that I've dug into with what Hitler did and all the stuff with the Holocaust, it didn't. I don't think it had anything to do with the Jews. I'm pretty sure it had to do with Tartaria, but that's just my personal opinion. Because
we're yeah.
I don't, because Tartaria disappeared, the Jews didn't, and everything that's going on with the Jews. Why was Israel saved for last? I've had this conversation with multiple people recently about the whole stuff that's going on right now over there, and I don't think people are realizing that the Jews that are there are not the same Jews in the Bible. The Israelites, it's not the same. We've talked about this, and I will digress on that point. But anyways, go ahead.
No, and so everything in this book, everything is happening right now.
So get the book, guys. I have it on my thing. She said something else way before. I'm trying to still finish that. So that's next on my list, especially right now. Maybe I should put the other one down and start reading that one.
when they were showing the pictures of the Bidens going and visiting the Carters, people have no idea the symbolism in that photo.
All right, do explain it then.
Because Carter was the alpha, Biden's the omega. All of this, okay, so
one can see that for sure.
Carter was the beginning of all this. Okay. He started this whole thing, which is what he was basically a puppet for the Committee of 300, because they needed to destroy America from within. Khrushchev knew that. He was like, "No, we'll destroy America without ever firing a shot." He was right.
For now, the people are waking up. I hope. We'll see.
If people keep posting this, I got really cocky. It was like, "Oh, here comes, here's the scare event," and I was like, "You want to place a wager on that?" Because
I don't think that's a scare event.
No, there's not going to be. The scare event is basically a psyop in which, and there's 3 phases to this. It's spelled out right here. And so they're going to keep doing it and keep doing it, because if the little monkeys keep going, okay, I'm going to be just, we're in Patreon. Okay, Rattle Trap and all this other BS that's going on out there.
Yep.
Really? This has been bump for 3 effing years.
Yep.
Guess what? They know precisely how long, where am I at? How long? Because once they see and they profile the populations, they go into detail in here how the populations are profiled. Okay?
So basically, guys and gals, get that and read it. I'm going to add it. I think I'm going to put the other ones down and read that one.
This
So I
one,
can keep
because
over
it's so pertinent to right now and the history in it. He does a good job. He also did another book about the Tavistock Institute. I got that one. So that's why I'm just like, until one phase is fully complete and they are profiling these populations, and it's multiple populations that are being hit in multiple ways because they need to get everybody to a particular state. Once they can see that they're at that state, they go on to the next phase.
Phase 1 is profiling. Phase 2 is what?
No, phase 1 is, let me see if I can find in here because it's pages long.
That's fine. It's just high level subject. What
it is. And
boom, boom,
so
boom.
basically it's getting people so they're so confused and demoralized that they start creating slogans. Okay.
Sure. I
All
could see
right.
that already happening for people.
Exactly. All right. So now we got this group and we demoralized them. And so now they've got their flags and their slogans, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a population now that has become so disenfranchised, if you will. And these words, hippie, flower child, they came from the Tavistock Institute.
Black Lives Matter.
Cliff High talks about these guys and what fuckery's going on there.
Go ahead. You're on.
I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, go ahead.
And all these words, groovy, all these cool. And then the Beatles was a creation of the Tavistock. He goes into detail about the tones in the music.
Oh yeah, the frequency, the 440 is
no.
not
This gets even crazier. It's a 12 tone. Oh God, if I can find it. Okay, and it was designed. I know where it is.
Can't remember. Is that one? What was it? The Committee of 300.
The Committee of 300. So. And
the conspiracy. I see it here. I see it here. No, go ahead. I'm making sure if my John Coleman.
Yep.
Okay.
He also has. He wrote about
here.
Yep. So he goes, and in his book he says, and this is on page 88 going to 89, nobody would have paid much attention to the motley crew from Liverpool and the 12 atonal system of music that was to follow had it not been for an overabundance of press exposure. So he goes into how the media, which is run and owned by the Committee of 300, is directed to do what they're doing. We're watching it again. Turn the crap off.
Yeah, don't turn on your TV at all, guys. Like,
it's just
here. Stay tuned to stuff like this, but don't be paying attention to anything in your TV. Seriously.
And it goes on. The 12 atonal system consisted of heavy, repetitive sounds taken from the music of the cult of Dionysus and the Baal priesthood of Adorno, and given a modern flavor by the special friend of the Queen of England, and hence the Committee of 300. The Tavistock and its Sanford Research Center created trigger words, which then became into general usage around rock music and its fans. Trigger words created a distinct new breakaway, largely young population group, which was persuaded by social engineering and conditioning to believe that the Beatles really were their favorite group. What do we have going on right now?
Same thing everywhere.
I'm like, this. And so all trigger words devised in the context of rock music were designed for mass control of the new targeted group, the youth of America. What are we seeing right now with the new targeted group? Same thing.
Same thing. Same exact thing. This ridiculous.
This is like, hey, you want to be able to do something different and maybe change things, then know what they're doing instead of people going, oh, I don't have time to read, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine.
No, read it. No, I am putting the other one I have down, and I'm going to be reading this one next.
This one, because it's starting to tie in with like revelations and messages from Marianne Van Hoof, because she, with her way of receiving messages, the Committee of 300 she went into in sections of this and how horrible and evil they were and how they planned on destroying the youth in the 50s.
I believe it.
Okay, so this is just, it just keeps going. And if you want to stop this, you want to know their playbook, read that book and then read his other book on the Tavistock Institute. You want to stop this? Learn.
Know the playbook. Know the playbook. Am I, real quick, am I glitching on your side at
No,
all?
you look good over here. Yeah.
'Cause you're glitching like crazy over here. I just updated my system to a new version. It's being a little bit of a pain in the butt. Keep going as long as it doesn't go anywhere.
Well, we'll find out.
Yep, it'll just disappear.
So
Sorry.
we see this happening. All right. And then as we start looking at the dates with these documents from the International Treasury Monetary One, things are starting to kind of coincide with things. So you know that there is something happening which then lines up with the Terra Infinita in certain ways, because you can't have everything just line up completely and the heavens open, the angels sing, and all right, because we've got too many factions going on and facets happening all at the same time. So there are these things that once you really can see how they're playing this out, it starts to make sense. And then people are like, oh, the latest I heard, because I've been talking people off the ledge because I do the life coaching.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh my gosh. Okay, so the latest is, oh my God, they're already raising the diesel prices and we're going to be running out of fuel. And I was like, what did you just say to me? Oh, they're telling us, okay. And I'm, up here in the upper Midwest.
So it is a little more up there, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, number one, let's think about this. Oh, he depleted the strategic oil reserves so that our military can't. All right, people. Scorched Earth, the book, Scorched Earth, the military's assault on the environment. It tells you they go through like 300,000 gallons in a matter of hours. 300,000 gallons. So your strategic oil reserve, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, it's a tiny bit. And besides,
I mean, come on.
You can pull it right out of the ground. Diesel of all things. There's a reason we chose diesel engine.
Okay, so now they're like, now all the little monkeys, so the Tavistock knew, okay, we're going to go over here. We're going to get them going. We're going to go over here and get them going. And I looked at them. I said, shut up. Now think. Diesel. What does everything run on?
Everything runs on diesel. And no one realizes that.
So
gas is not as widely used.
So then they started thinking, I said, we're going to run out. You just drank what they were serving.
Now, what you might run out of is the Blue Death stuff, because that was designed by the EPA and it's a chokehold on the diesel engines. That you might run out of, because that is a lot more controllable, because it's really just dog urine, cat urine, whatever you want to call it, mixed mostly with water.
Well, just have your pets pee in a bucket and there you go.
Or just delete the stuff off the truck. Bye-bye, EPA crap. They have the Supreme Court cut the legs out from under them. Don't forget that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, y'all.
It's crazy.
That would be more of a, if you, not to give anyone a reason, but don't forget about the diesel, guys. It's just a joke.
The whole thing.
Just to make you run in circles.
Okay, because I remember when I was short, that was a long time ago. All right, I think this was Carter with the whole gas crisis in the 70s. Oh,
yep.
Really?
You're trying so hard to keep it clean.
I'm just
I love
it. I'm serious. The last week of talking people off the ledge, I was like, you have a brain. God put something between your ears. Yep. Start using it.
Yep. Get the crap out of your head and what realize there's more to life, more things going on than people even know. I mean,
and so what are you paying attention to? And then of course we have the whole Israel. Oh my God. I said, do you know? And I have one, she's Egyptian. I love her dearly. And she's like, oh my God. And all blah, blah, blah. And they blew up the hospital. I said, do you know that for a fact?
Because the church, they said they blew up. The church said on Facebook, no, they didn't.
Mm-hmm. So I told her the story of one of my Bosnian clients when they had the whole Bosnia Croatia thing going,
Mhm.
and the European media was going crazy. Oh my God, there's people dead and blah blah. And where they were showing, he was sitting there with his buddies drinking a beer. he told me, he goes, don't believe anything they say, even the European. He goes, because this is what they did to us. And we all looked at each other going, well, I guess we're supposed to be dead.
Yeah, supposedly.
You know? So
Supposedly.
yes, this whole thing is just garbage.
Yeah, ever since I downloaded that file, my system's been weird. This is fun. I'm gonna just delete it real quick. I
Yeah.
can pull it down later. Sorry,
Oh my
y'all.
gosh,
My
I'm
system
sorry.
is literally like on my end. I hear you talking and everything's just frozen. Okay, there it goes. I deleted it. That's weird. You know what?
Well, remind me when we're done. I'll kind of give you a little more info.
Sure, no worries.
So this whole thing, I mean, my gosh, this rattle trap, whoever he is, he's been going like this for the last 3 years.
He has
Okay.
for sure, yeah.
Y'all, my God. I was like, stuff will come across, and I'm thinking, all of a sudden somebody was doing woo stuff as a war correspondent. I was like, oh, for the love of Pete.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. Man.
It's garbage. It's all garbage.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? Boom.
Get the book, y'all. I have it in my library here.
And make no mistake, they have already decided who they were going to elevate as these influencers. Okay. And they can very easily.
It's not me.
Well, it's not us. Oh, yeah. Oh, not us. Because guess what? We're way too over the target.
Yep.
But they're going to elevate these people. And if you see people that are getting elevated and they're getting all this stuff, it was done by Tavistock and the Committee of 300.
Interesting.
Now we do know via these resolutions that will be brought to an end.
You pointed one out to me, or a few out to me this past week. I never got to read them. I told you what I was doing beforehand.
Yeah. So I just put things in there as notes so that it helps us remember.
Yep. I think it was 12 was the one you said to go look at. Or was it something else? Let me go see.
What do I got? I got 15 here.
It's
15 is really good too. Withdrawal of assets in order to eliminate all forms of discrimination, genocide of peoples.
So you must read 12. Holy moly, it's absolutely biblical.
Okay, let's say I pull up. I was going through because I got 12. What's this one? This one's 14.
All right, there's 12. If I push the right button, sorry, y'all. Button. There it is.
That's 14.
There's resolution 12.
Oh, let's pull it up here. So let me see. You make it a little bigger so I can see it.
If we can push the button right there. There we go.
There we go. That's good. Oh, maybe make it a little. There we go. There. Now we got it centered. Okay, so we're looking at here is that they're going through and their litany is very consistent. So when you have a consistent litany like this is important because it is a styles thing.
Yep. So then, so there's the litany. Everything's the same up here. Page 1, 2, 3, all is the same on everything. So there you go.
And they're still confirming. And this is where they go in and we remind that the right to own and manage global financial assets is transferred by the main account custodians of the system, the sacred masters. So we have to look at custodians of the system. So what system is this? Okay.
The new system that they announced in resolution 1, I think, right? Or 2?
I think, but there's so much here.
Yep.
The sacred master, his divine holiness, Salama bi Rizal. Now there's something here with Rizal that somebody else is helping me with. They're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Ancestor Rizal, full name spiritual Spanish judge of the whole world justice.
Joveto Hugo Jove. And his descendants have been chosen by holy providence since the beginning of time in the family lineage of the Rizals. The right of the custodian is transferred from father to son. The mothers of each guardian are numbered among the holy mothers of the Catholic Church. Now, this is before the Great Schism.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see that. Sure. Okay.
All right. We remind that the history of the
Here.
seizure of the world assets is full of investigation, war, and confrontation about the discovery of a trail of blood and death. All
Okay.
right. So they are aware. And remember, God is a loving God.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to give you every chance, but when you are now openly killing his creation,
Like, and not for nothing. Like, when you say creation, like you talk about everything,
everything
not
he
just
has
human.
created, it is his
Right.
creation.
Right.
So, yeah. So we go into the discovery of a trail of blood and death, the origins of the seizure of the first formation of a trust. Now, trust, this is biblical. Testamentary trust, testamental trust. Okay.
Old Testament, New
Uh-huh.
Testament,
Yes.
the 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 uh, the covenants. Those are
Those are
trusts.
basically trusts.
That's not
Yes.
basically. That is what it is. It's a trust.
Between God and his people.
Wow. Okay,
Now
so
this gets really, because I was like, whoa. Okay.
1302.
November 18th of 1302, when Pope Boniface VIII issued a papal decree, a papal bull, Unum Sanctum, which declared that it belongs to the whole world of the church. This testamentary trust, being the global assets manager from 13 to 16 to 17, became the core of the feudal system of land ownership on the planet Earth. Who writes documents like that?
God would have. Angelic beings, maybe. I don't know. Who would write that?
Exactly. We remind that in 1915, by the will of the Holy See and the permission of the elders, all the royal families signed an agreement, the 3T Trilinium, according to which the gold of all royal families and countries was transferred to the Trilinium International Trust. The Trilateral Trilinium Tripatriate Gold Commission was created.
All right.
Now that's 1915.
So 1913 was the year of the Federal Reserve creation.
Oh, which was the Rothschilds. And you don't think that this was a counter move?
Probably was.
Mm-hmm.
To take it outside of their control. That way they couldn't have it.
Right. So now we're going to play word salad, and we're going to create trilaterals over Washington. We're going to create a trilateral commission. So now they're going to play word salad, because if anybody gets onto this, now we're going to play with this. And it started with Carter, the Rothschilds, and Rockefellers. There's a video going around, oh, well, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. I was like, no, because in these documents, they're going for both. They're the same snake.
Yep.
Don't think, well, these are the lesser of two evils. Get that crap right out of your head, because that is not biblical. That is not of God.
It is not the same. They're
Nope.
the same. That whole group. Y'all go read it, Gilbert Griffin's book. You got to know who was involved. That they were all one. They acted as one. They knew they were acting as one.
And they know which side. Now here again, Committee of 300. They know when to start playing both ends from the middle. So,
Yep.
Oh, you're going to be the bad guy. We're going to make it, and we're going to make them choose. They know how to push everybody.
It's just like the legal system, the lawyers.
So instead, the one thing that I coach people on is it's both and. It's not this, it's not this. It's both of them and. And when you can stay in the middle and see it's both of them, and you can just willingly and logically, okay, well, this is doing this because it's causing this. So if I stay in the middle of this, I'm unaffected.
So keep your minds right, y'all.
And that's in the Bible too.
Yep, keep your minds right.
So now we have this trust that's created. Yeah, it's I'm kind of on a little tirade today, because I mean, the people I'm talking off the ledge, I shouldn't be. I should be helping them think about their hopes and their dreams and their goals, not this stupid BS.
Fair enough. That's usually where it goes. Yep.
Just like,
You
oh, for the love of Pete.
need to go get you something, chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Here.
So we
Take a
remind
deep
that
breath.
in 1944, the trilenium successor was the Bretton Woods Agreement.
Interesting.
See how all this is coming together?
Yeah.
Which was signed by all participating countries and was also signed by the USSR for a period of 50 years. Okay. In 1971 to 78, the Bretton Woods system was replaced by the Jamaican currency system. So here we're all,
Which goes back to the paper money system.
Mhm.
Which goes back to
Which
the
do
cons.
exactly.
Yeah.
Based on free currency trading, free currency conversion. So it was originally based on you could trade freely with your currency. All right. So it could be, all of the gold and silver, everything was interchangeable. What does it sound like?
Ooh, excuse me, today.
Interchangeable blockchain.
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah. Sorry. Caught me off guard there for a second. Yes, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's why
They're
my
all
brain's just been
interchangeable.
like,
They're all interchangeable. Yeah, so all of the coins all have, for the most part, not all of them, but they all have trading pairs for the most part.
right. But you have here now the Jamaican currency system based on free currency trading, free currency conversion. What does blockchain do?
It converts.
Absolutely.
That's
Okay,
pretty
so it was already, so this was in play.
wow.
All right.
So the theory, not the actual technology, but the theory or the method by which to do those things was there. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that had to be,
Yep.
kiboshed.
Yep.
So we remind that the Trilateral Trilenium Tripatriate Gold Commission operated in the period of 1944 to 1995 with the participation of various states of the world for a period of 50 years. During this period, the trusts of the financial system New World Order were formed, the head of which was transferred the right monetary one.
Okay.
So this is where now it gets really wonky because you got Bush Senior with his New World Order.
Yeah.
And then this, I was like, okay, wait a minute. We're running in parallels, just like there's two Enochs, okay, in the Bible when it was running in parallels.
Yep.
Okay. We state that many royal families today are represented by members of the so-called dark nobility. We thoroughly know all the data on all members of the dark nobility, which has a great influence on building strategies for the Committee of 300 and other international organizations, including the World Bank, the IMF, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, various structural organizations of the UN, etc. They were infiltrated. That book that we keep I'm going to be thumping on that thing because it's all spelled out. You can turn off Rattletrap, you can turn off all these other guys and sit and read that book and start putting it together yourself.
It's just like the Behold the Pale Horse. It's the same. It's very, from what I understand, it's very similar. It shows the playbook. It's very clear. It lays it out really.
Right. So Cooper hits it from another angle also. So while he and Coleman, they are running in parallel and tandem, Cooper, because he was American military, Coleman was British. So you're seeing it.
Oh, interesting. So you're seeing from both sides. Yeah.
You're seeing it very clearly.
Interesting.
Very clearly. And Coleman with his educational background and then putting in his education with the Tavistock Institute. Yeah. And you put that with William Cooper's work, and now you've got something that really lines up with these documents. And now you can see everybody's like, oh, the White Hats are in control. Really, just sit and read this stuff and turn the crap off.
They're not. I mean, they are, but they're not. It's outside of both sides. They're playing both sides. They're playing both sides, guys.
They have, yeah.
That doesn't mean that there's not something else going on here that we're uncovering, but at the same time, how does it all straddle together? I don't know yet. I don't feel like I know yet, but at the same time, like, I mean, you might, but for me, like, I don't see how this stuff we've found here seems to be that, what is it? The and or this is not the white and black hats versus
No,
utility.
this is
the
truly
or.
both and.
Oh, this is both and.
This is the both and. There is no ors. It's both and. Okay,
Okay.
because you got one wing, the bird. It's the whole
Sure.
thing.
Okay. That's
So
a better way to put it. Yeah.
okay, so it's both
Sorry.
and. So let's go back in. So here again, that's why I was like, the UN, you've got business registries. There's things that I came across. I was like, okay, I really need to learn about the UN because everyone, they're Monsters Inc. If you look at even just the name of that movie, I'm squirreling off, y'all. We're bird walking here for a minute. Monsters Inc. If you go to Black's Law Dictionary, the definition of human is monster.
Yep.
Okay, so now we got Monsters Inc. and you can see all this stuff. And then we got, oh, we scare because we care. It was like, you know what? Why don't you discover that laughter and joy has a higher frequency and things manifest beautifully instead of all this garbage?
The torture and all the gross, yucky stuff. I'll leave that alone for now. But there's a lot of stuff that is so many things tie back together on that. But I digress.
But that goes back to the dark nobility, which they are calling out.
Yeah, I've never heard that term before. So that's new to me.
Okay.
I will be digging on that.
Yeah, this is they talked about this in their other documents, which is in also some other books. But I digress. So let's continue. We state that in order to maintain their ability to control and manipulate humanity, the Holy See, and all the royal families, the dark nobility retained various tools of influence, such as the presence in the management of global organizations. So basically, these are like your Fabianists, your Bolsheviks, your whatever name you want to give it, they will take on that identity so that they can do, complete their mission, if you will.
Sure. Makes sense.
We state that the main policy of the dark nobility and institutions of influence today is aimed at the genocide of the peoples. The secretly emerging totalitarian world government formation of a complete totalitarian control system on Earth, with the transformation of authoritarian regimes into submission to a single totalitarian center on Earth. At the same time, their goals are aimed at building a utopian world state with control through the formation of a totalitarian regime with the presence and provision of a comprehensive ideologization of the population. That is the last phase in the Committee of 300 stuff. So they get people so apathetic that they will embrace the ideology of just this insanity that, yes, hey, it's all right. Get the penis off your child. Take the, breasts off your daughter.
Okay. That is all okay.
Oh yeah, that's okay if that's what they want. Yes, okay, we'll do. I was like, oh, we're gonna have a new religion. Okay, I was, my God, yes,
yeah, all of that.
Oh my God,
they're trying. I've said this before. I've heard the leaders of the Jewish religion, the Hindu religion, the Buddhist religion, and like the Catholic, et cetera, they all got together and they had a meeting. They're in the meeting. We need to bring about the scenarios and revelations so that God comes back. Word for word. If I could find the stupid video of them saying that, I would share that out like crazy. I haven't been able to find it since I saw it. But it's not something I'm sitting there going, well, that would be really interesting if they tried to bring the Lord back. They can't. They can't make scenarios in the world to be so they can make it that way. So that way, all of the other religious people who've read Revelation look at that and go, oh my goodness, it's the end times. And then they just give up. Like we're talking about here. They become apathetic and they embrace what comes next. Or they don't embrace what comes next. Then they just get removed from the face of the earth because of what comes next. They'll stand against because scripture says they're supposed to. And then they'll be able to call out who's who and they'll know who's who and they'll take care of them kind of thing. And then they'll be off on their way doing their own stupid evil and get their way. The thing is, God knows when he's coming back. The Father's the only one who knows when he's coming back. Nobody can make him come back. Satan can be arrogant and prideful and deceive and manipulate all he wants, but he cannot make God come back. Jesus himself said to the disciples when they asked this, read Matthew 24, that only the Father knows. when he's returning.
I know not the hour of my return.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. So no,
This ties to
well,
me. That goes to me. That's where that direction goes from the spiritual side of things to the biblical side of things, because I hear people all the time, especially in friends and family. Oh, it's the end times. I'm like, are you guys lost your minds? Scripture's pretty clear what it's going to be like. Have you read the book of Enoch? Because that's a really good history. If you don't believe it from a scriptural standpoint, it's a really good historical standpoint that it was what happened in that time. No, I can't stand reading that, blah, 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 because it's not part of the Bible, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my word. Get your head out of your butt and stop. Anyways.
But there again, that's part of this whole long range penetration strategy. It's to get this so that it is such an injected monologue.
Yep.
And it is so multi-layered. And people say, well, it's really this. It was like, it's all of that and then some. And because your mind, it's two ideas or two spiritual steps people can make. But when you go 3 or 4, boom, they shut down. Oh, yeah. So it really takes, it's so much.
It takes a very strong and strong mind, but I don't want to say open mind, but a mind who understands their foundation is very strong. And I know the truth, and I'm willing to listen to anything else. If it contradicts this, we'll talk about it. But at the same time, I'm willing to at least, sorry, y'all, probably sounded really loud. Listen and learn and see other people's perspectives. That's very important.
And that's both and. Because you care enough and have reverence enough for the creation of that person, of that their divinity, that you're going to hear that, because it is both and. And because of that, you care to hear both things.
Right. Sorry, I'm still getting over travel.
So as we kind of had our little rant there, so let's see, where did we leave off? We state that the part of the main policy of the dark nobility is influence. Okay. We state that the main part of the, we state as part of the main policy of the dark nobility and institutions of influence today is aimed at genocide of the peoples, in particular, the genocide of the Slavic peoples by any means. For example, through pitting each other, the formation of stable conflicts, wars, poisoning people through food using banned chemical substances, GMOs controlling the entire chain from production to sales systems to the end user, and other ways.
It's interesting they specifically call out Slavic people because that would tie to the Tartaria stuff.
Exactly.
Where's Tartaria? Can anyone say? No, because no one knows. But that's the way the system is entirely set up in the United States. Go over to Europe, go to Italy. That stuff's banned. GMOs are banned. Like, you can go to Italy. I know people go to Italy, they eat the same exact things and lose weight. Because there's no chemicals in the food. It's just food. It's just food. Anyways, I digress. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it was just somebody who was talking about titanium dioxide in our food.
Everything. Don't eat Skittles, y'all.
Heck, don't even drink orange juice because they put bug shells in it to make it orange.
Yeah, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We state that part of the main policy of the dark nobility and institutions of influence today is aimed at changing history, culture, erasing the history of the past from memory, rewriting history from generation to generation, removing the roots of ties with the culture of ancestors, because with a break in communication with the history of ancestors, with the cultural population of ancestors, one can easily impose any ideology aimed at achieving dark goals. What did the whole what in 2020 when you couldn't see your elders? You were erasing populations.
That's the whole point of that. What was it? Cliff even talked about this. He looked at the cell phone data for China, and there was like, I don't know, 5 million users, like almost overnight, just stopped using their phones. They just disappeared, went offline. That don't happen unless people die. It just doesn't happen. So anyways, talk about genocide. We don't know that stuff because we're not allowed to know that stuff. I bet you there are people who could find that out though.
We state that the transformation of all regimes into a single totalitarian regime on Earth is carried out through the formation of genocide, the formation and maintenance of conflicts, wars, the formation and maintenance of organized crime, while these misanthropes remain unpunished for centuries, being the main ideologists of all the troubles of the common people. That's why you're seeing all these people go free and, just burn, rape, pillage, and plunder.
Or what was it? Obama pulled off, I don't know what the number was. I think it was like 600,000 known pedophiles out of the background check system before he departed.
We just had it. They swept it under the rug super fast in here in Minnesota. So somebody actually did their celly in when he found out he was a pedophile.
Interesting.
I mean, the guy was like, what? And then he put him in his bunk and made it look like he died in his sleep.
Man, the thing is, you put them in prison, they're not going to survive.
No.
I mean, you might have murderers and you might have people in there for really bad things, but they do not tolerate that stuff. And it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They don't deserve to anyways.
No. Boy, we're bird walking tonight.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we note that the International Treasury Monetary Fund cannot be a participant in misanthropic processes, and not only condemns all the actions of the above groups, but also, based on the power, will, and right of divine providence, announces the beginning of the end of time for all misanthropic groups. Now, the end times are not for those that follow the divine creator. It's for the misanthropic groups. So
we're supposed to be caught up in the rapture at some point. I don't know.
Well, Jason Brashears, I really liked what he had to say about this, is that the misanthropic groups are trying to stoke up the fear level to get you into that frequency so that when this happens, they stay hidden.
Interesting.
Okay, because the frequency is there. That's why I am just harping on this book. I even posted, I pinned it in the Telegram. It's a free download PDF.
You did? It was pinned?
I pinned it. And it was like, just go print it out. Get your own binder. Have it. Highlight it. Underline it.
List of books. Is that what it was?
Yeah. No, it was I pinned it recently. I said, here's a PDF.
CIA.gov library.
Yeah.
How in the world? That's a nice. How did that wind up there?
Right? I was like, oh, this is just so poetic.
I don't know if I want to download that. That'll be fun.
So somebody's got it, but it was just like, at least you can read it. You can go there and read it. But, I would say go get the book. But yeah, it was in that particular library.
Let's see if my computer started working again as soon as I removed that stupid file. Something was up with that file. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have a junk system, use that stuff for that. Let's just see there. All right, so I saved that. All right, cool. So that's that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
So we'll get back over to our document. Mm-hmm.
This guy. All right.
We know.
Yep. You got it here. I can't highlight to show people. I'm sorry, y'all. We know. Yeah. There you go. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. So we note that the International Treasury Monetary Fund, due to its universal nature and legitimacy, is a unique and key organization for finding effective solutions in international economic issues to influence the development process in the world, and reaffirm that the International Treasury Monetary Fund is well positioned to participate in various reform processes aimed at improving and strengthening the efficient functioning of the international financial system and its architecture, while recognizing that the International Treasury Monetary Fund and international financial institutions are endowed with complementary capabilities due to why coordination of their actions is critical. We, International Treasury Monetary Fund, reaffirm the purposes set forth in our charter including the purposes of to carry out international cooperation in resolving international problems of an economic, social, cultural, and humanitarian nature, and to be a center for harmonizing the actions of nations in achieving these common goals. The principles of the Charter are of particular relevance in dealing with current problems. The International Treasury Monetary One is well positioned to participate in various reform processes aimed at improving and strengthening the efficient functioning of the international financial system and its structure. The resolution is part of our collective efforts led by divine providence to overcome the crisis. The resolution builds on and contributes to what is largely being done by various stakeholders and platforms and is intended to support further action, give it real substance, and give it political momentum. This resolution also highlights the importance of the role of the International Treasury Monetary One and international economic issues and the role in the restructuring of the architecture of the world financial system. The language in here, they talk divine providence on earth. Y'all, these aren't your average bearers. Now, they're targeting the Slavic people because this goes back to one of my Bosnian clients talking about there's something very, very spiritual, and those beings are in the Slavic area.
Interesting.
Okay.
See that being why they protected it so much.
Okay. And he's told me, I think I've shared it here, but I'll do it again. His great uncle was coming home from, going out deer hunting. He's coming home as the sun was starting to come up. And he saw this goat kind of in the snow. And he's like, what are you doing out there? And it's like, meh. So he goes and he gets it and he puts it over his shoulders and he heads back to the farm. Like, what are you doing out here? And as the sun is coming up, it's like it's getting heavier and heavier. And then the rooster's crowing. And the rooster crowed 3 times. Where have we heard 3 times?
Yeah.
So as the rooster's crowing, it's getting heavier. And he's still going. The rooster crows again. It's getting heavier. The rooster crows a 3rd time, and it's gotten so heavy. And the goat, which wasn't a goat, says to him, it's a good thing the rooster crowed, or you would see what you're really carrying. And it was gone. Okay.
That's crazy.
He also talks about a man walking in the village, and it was windy, and there was an umbrella all of a sudden in the middle of the road in front of a church. And the wind blew, and it blew it. And he was like, watching, that was interesting. And he's kind of watching it. All of a sudden the wind blows and it goes straight up in the air and heads right to the church. And he was like, okay, they're here. So there is something there, and they're trying to kill off those people because they're trying to kill off that. And the same thing with the Virgin Mary that they bring out from Medjugorje.
I don't understand that part, but I have not heard of that one.
Okay, so there's a pilgrimage where people go to Medjugorje and they bring out a painting of the Virgin Mary.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, his brother and his brother's friend were being cocky. He told me the story. And of course, his one friend had been drinking. They're like, yeah, that's stupid, blah, blah. And they're, stupid. He picks up a rock and throws it at the painting. And all of a sudden, the guy, it's like he got picked up and he was thrown a good 10 feet backwards.
Wow. Fun.
And they watched the rock deflect off. It never hit the painting. And that's when they looked, it was like, okay, we're never doing that again.
That's interesting.
So there's things there that they are trying to destroy that was being protected. And it gets, I'm just like, yeah, you can't, there's no explaining it. And when I've got firsthand, boom, being shared.
Yeah, you may see some of this stuff that may be very interesting that starts to happen.
And
makes you wonder how we found this stuff.
Right. Well, and like this gentleman, he's telling me these are his stories. He's like, because So we're going to go back here. So I digress. So the international one decides, due to the unauthorized use of historical assets, which causes significant damage to the formation of a new balanced financial system in the world, the financial assets previously issued against the gold backing of the above accounts are considered canceled and invalid. The following issued assets based on gold backing are no longer tied to gold backing, no longer represent financial importance, and are devoid of financial energies.
So that means credit card debt, mortgages, blah blah blah, all that tied to that. All the bonds that are tied
I
to you
think
and me,
those
the birth
bonds that we
certificates.
were looking at with the dragon bond, because that was like holy buckets. That's going to be a whole nother
The
show.
dragon bond. We need to get into that. Is it?
Oh, that
Is it
was
dragon bonds or is it
yes, a dragon box. Okay, so
So this
there's
is
the
a
yellow.
dragon family. I know
No,
that. I
no,
know of that.
there's this. This is all those pages of boxes, and I think this goes back
Oh
to the
yeah,
Sesta
yeah, yeah,
QV.
yeah, 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 yeah. I
This goes.
remember that.
I think this is
Yeah,
going to go back to the Sesta QV Trust.
it might actually. So yeah, MT bills. We went over this stuff. This was number 5.
Was it 5 that had all those boxes that were listed?
Reaffirm. We admit. We recognize. We recognize.
Because it was pages of it. Nope, it wasn't that one.
I don't remember now. No
Okay.
worries. We'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. Let's get back to 12. Where are we here? So
We revoke.
we revoke all rights, powers to assets that were previously transferred under management and disposal for the following organizations, groups, peoples placed in central, national, and or state banks, commercial banks, different countries around the world. Testamentary Trust of November 18th, 1302 of the Vatican, the Bank of the Vatican, the Trilateral, Trilatinum, Tripartite Gold Commission of 1915, New World Order Financial System Trusts. They revoked them all.
Wow. So the 1302, that's pretty crazy. The trilateral, that's also pretty crazy.
We are activating the blocking of all system access codes for accounting, distribution, and control of these dark nobility groups, and all organizations, banks, and companies affiliated with them had, in connection with the transfer of assets to our full disposal and management, observing all the norms of international law. So we're seeing this statement again, norms of international law. The assets are entered into the balance sheets of the International Treasury Monetary One. In this regard, we strongly recommend starting the procedure for removing these assets from the balance sheet, all securities formed on the basis of these assets, and phase in the liquidation of real and fiat financial resources received during the period of use of our assets. So all these banks, oh my God, the banks are going down. No, they're not. They're being liquidated because guess what? They were wrong. Now, here's a crazy part. I had a client come in and she goes, something really weird happened. And I was like, what? She goes, I went to go pay off a loan or pay on my loan. It was already paid in full. I looked at her and I went, really? And then I got this bank card. She goes, I'm not using it yet. I said, that's okay. And I put a document in front of her. I think it was 14.
14 in front of her?
Where it says there's not going to be a World War III. There's not going to be. Read Resolution 14, people, and pull your head out of your butts. I was just like, oh my God, there's going to be. I was like, I've been putting that resolution in front of people, and it's like, you want to knock it off now? Because this is what's happening, and they want you so scared that when these documents come out, and when I told her what was going on, she's like, is this for real? I said, yes.
So that's the thing. Like, you got people like that. There are people over there, Nasara Jasara, and they're looking at all this other stuff. You got other people coming out like not Snippy. Pimpy came out. His debt was wiped out. There's other people's that was wiped out. It's like,
it's slowly happening.
well,
And it's
understood. And it should. If it happens overnight, yes, that makes sense for everyone. At some point, it will. It'll be like a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
But they're liquidating everything. That's an interesting way of looking at it. And
it's right here.
This is who's doing it.
It's right here. That's what I'm saying. Turn off all these effing influencers. Oh, well, we've got, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, who the F cares?
It may be that, what did you say? Not and.
It's both and.
It's both and. I can't say it right. Both. I think it's both and. I think they're fog of war, and this is what's happening behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Because while the Tavistock and the Committee of 300, they're losing their minds. Okay, because they came in and said, sorry, these are our assets. You effed up and your fuckery is going to be done.
Yep, you're done. Yep.
Adios, sayonara, bye-bye.
Yep. Makes
And
sense.
so this is really important because as I dug some more, we're going to get to it. Oh, this is really fun. Okay, so we warn that the possibility of considering the preservation of foreign securities, real and fiat financial resources on the basis of a database of assets that have not been put into use and have not been sent to social projects until this moment is absent consideration of proposals is impossible. We instruct from the moment of receiving this notification to make the necessary system notifications in the world financial system within 48 hours in order to timely notify all banks and interbank organizations.
Wow.
So if we look at the date on this, and then when shenanigans are starting to get pulled, the Committee of 300 knows.
February of last year.
So we start looking at what was going on. We had the Fed meeting. All of a sudden, we're hearing about all these Fed Reserve meetings, right? I was like, yeah, let's start correlating it with this. Where were we?
Right there at the top.
We remind that any actions with the use of assets under our management for the purpose of monetization of the financial system are a crime and lie on the corporate and personal responsibility of persons, officials, and bank officers who commit these crimes. There's some people going to jail. You may not see it. Because if these are, let's just say, God's hierarchy, this is kind of like, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Like, bye-bye.
We recommend that all countries, organizations, or persons storing these assets in order to prevent fraud and deception of bona fide subjects of the law are required to transfer these documents and products to the International Treasury Monetary One for inclusion in the Liquidation Act. Look that one up. That was a rabbit hole. In order to record, analyze, and evaluate the integrity of the ex-custodians, ex-holders, and ex-managers, the right to manage the historical assets of the world financial system. So they're going to take this away from everybody. You had your chance, you messed up, and you're now killing people.
Yep.
As a reminder, the sacred rights of the custodians of the above assets have been revoked. Now, the custodians are also talked about in the Terra Infinita.
Which yep. Go ahead.
And any action contrary to the resolution of the International Treasury Monetary One number 4, cancellation of historical assets in order to form a balanced new financial system will have immediate, inevitable, sacred, and obvious consequences for the custodians with appearance in the material world.
So who
writes like that?
Who writes like that? Yeah.
The control and audit of implementation of this resolution number 12 is entrusted to the Executive Committee of the International Treasury Monetary One. This was February 27th, 2022.
Approved, completed, and executed. Wow. Good grief, y'all.
Yeah. And so
that's 12.
Right.
Okay, so that's 12. Golly.
Yeah.
So you said.
And then there's one. I gotta find, where was that one? Because I was like, what in the heck? Is it 15? Where they actually talk about. Oh no, that's getting into all the Slavic countries. Okay, that's 15. 14 is really long. It's in here. There's 12. Maybe it was 14.
Well, we can take a glance at 41 real quick, and we can
let's do 41. We'll wrap it up, but we're gonna find
42.
42. Let's look at 42.
We can wrap it up. Oh, wow, that's not any shorter.
Well, we can just kind of like, what is this? We'll kind of give it like a little teaser. We'll get to it next week. What is this one?
This one's a decree. This was done on the 18th of this month.
Make it a little bigger for me. We hereby confirm that Sovereign International Monetary One is the owner manager. Okay, that's the same litany. Let's go down. Here's it. In connection with the transition to cryptocurrency and other digital fiat forms of accounting and mutual settlements of the main prohibited criminal transition to cryptocurrency.
Hang on. What did I just do?
I don't know.
Okay. Scroll. It's not liking it being. There we go. Scroll. Okay.
There's one.
So yeah. So prohibit of the main
in
prohibited.
connection, with the in the connection. Okay, wait a minute. Organizations carrying on their banner and carrying out prohibited neo-fascism, continuing attempts to destroy bright humanity, organizing and catalyzing wars, genocide, robbery, and other crimes in our world, such as the dark nobility, the Jesuits, the Illuminati, the Cabal, the black and other colored aristocrats, except for the white aristocracy, the dark nobility, the black sun cult, except for the knave sun, the criminal cult called the Order of Set, except for the real god Set, which is light. The criminal and illegitimate government, false government, is the U.S. corporation. Holy buckets. The criminal and prohibited government, false government, is the China corporation and all other governments, false governments of corporations of the so-called countries, false countries, as well as their branches and structural divisions of all false sovereigns, such as the British Crown, the Scottish Crown, Liechtenstein, and others who continue to conduct monstrous criminal activities against the all one God, the all creator, the all creative of the highest kind, and the creator raw universal love. The crown of creation is man as the divine universe, which must be filled by right, love, good, truth, which is referred to as people, and against all bright humanity as a whole.
So how does that tie into cryptocurrency?
Something was off there. Go scroll back up because that just doesn't make sense.
So this is a decree.
Right.
I can get it to whenever I zoom in this big.
Yeah, if we have to go, so in connection with the transition to cryptocurrency and other digital fiat forms of accounting and mutual settlements of the main prohibited criminal
organizations.
Okay, so the main prohibited criminal organizations are the dark nobility. Remember FTX.
So they're not allowed to touch cryptocurrency.
No, or any other digital things because like we saw with FTX and what was it? There was the Silicon Bank, that whole thing. So we were actually watching if I'm interpreting this correctly, we were watching them going, you were told you don't get to play in there. We're going to expose you. Because there was.
So what we talked about for the show, which we won't really mention here, I hope that that doesn't break any rules.
Well, I would say that if you are following what they're kind of mapping out here, which is to support bright humanity and all of God's creation in a way that is open and fair.
Which that's the whole goal of that, was to do that. And there's even ministry related stuff that will be like a phase 2 or phase 3 will be tied to that as well. Anyhow, we can talk about that again later, but I only bring that up because it made me think, I really hope that doesn't tie into some other stuff, but I digress. I'll digress there.
Right. So no, I think this is because we were witnessing, as I said, FTX and other organizations that were creating these things, and they were calling them out. And that's where people, oh, look at this bank, blah, 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 blah. I was like, nah, these guys are like,
yep, sorry, Charlie, kind of thing. Yeah.
No. Nice try. We warned you. Kaboom. All right. So we hereby confirm all previous legal and sublegal sovereign international acts of the sovereign international treasury, namely decrees, resolutions, and orders, and all other legal and subordinate sovereign international acts of the sovereign international treasury monetary one, in pursuance of the right of the sovereign, the norms of international law. So you've now got two legal things here that are some rabbit holes. all decrees, resolutions, and orders, all other legal and subordinate sovereign international acts of the sovereign international treasury monetary one. Holy buckets. Next page, please.
If it'll roll, there it goes. When it's zoomed in this big, it's
Yeah. By God's grace, by right of the supreme sovereign, in fulfillment of the sacred mission to overcome the world financial crisis, prevent a third world nuclear war, eliminate destructive, toxic, and dysfunctional debt, fiat financial system, and in fulfillment of the creation of a bright world financial system based on heavenly principles and the gold standard, namely the sacred spiritual gold treasures, Ram,
Ramo.
Ramo, which is
That's M1.
M1, Ramo M1, okay, which is XAU, which is bank gold, for serving light humanity in its development and prospering according to the con of creation. That must be a God or something. Creator, yeah, something. Creation of the light creative world based on heavenly principles of democracy, justice, love, and harmony for the creative, spiritual, and divine development of light humanity in universal love and harmony with all that is and with all that is not, for the glory of the highest kind. All that is and all that is not. Okay, so it's both
Who
and.
writes like this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the right of the absolute owner and chief regulator of the entire world financial system, by the right of the absolute owner and manager of the 7 world assets in the entire world, on the basis of the exclusive historical right from the creator of the new era.
Looks very interesting. The entire world's
And the 7
style
world
is
assets.
the style isn't right. It doesn't match. Right here. You got 7 world assets, and then the entire world is not the same style.
So
just calling it out.
No, so it's basically making it very clear.
Sure.
That boom. Sure. We hereby proclaim, decide, and approve. 1, recognize outside the divine law of creation and outside the law, land, air, water, prohibit to existence in the world.
If it'll roll through.
All cryptocurrencies and digital money, including fiat currencies and fiat payments.
So they're prohibiting that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Clearings, clearing platforms, clearing systems based on any technology, including blockchain technology, any other forms of mutual settlements and payments funds, with exception of.
Okay.
World Reserve backing currencies, gold. There's the gold ruble, the gold dollar, the gold, basically European currency unit. Any clearing platforms, clearing systems based on any technologies, including blockchain technology, as well as currencies, including cryptocurrencies, which secured by the World Reserve backing currency. Oh, so basically it has to be backed by one of these, but backed by gold.
So that's not necessarily to say that it's not allowed unless it is.
That's how I'm interpreting this. It must be backed by one of these.
Okay, so blockchain technology, that as a technologist, the way that is written is from, in my perspective, a lack of understanding or lack of education around what it is, because it in and of itself gives freedom to humanity to decide what they want to do with it. And the reason you can't back the technology by the gold, it is a platform, it is a system, it is not money. I think they're tying the two together. At least to me, on the surface, I would love to figure out how to talk to someone in here. That doesn't make sense to me, because looking at it from a purely technology perspective, you can't back a computer by gold, because that's what that is. If you really think about the blockchain, is compute. It's everywhere and yet nowhere. It's just compute. You build on top of it a distributed and decentralized system that is impenetrable from realistically anything. It's transparent. It's open to the public. to me, that shows lack of education or lack of willing to be educated.
Well, what if, and this is a what if,
Yep.
they see the potential pitfalls because,
Sure.
for instance, like we were saying with Doge, well, they could, Doge could have a hard split, but they could always go back and
It's
do
still a currency. Forget the currency. Forget the tokens.
right.
Forget all that. The
I'm thinking
technology.
the technology. They could go back and do something with the blockchain.
No, even still, so think about the technology is a railroad,
Mm-hmm.
and the tokens and the platform, the technological platform, was things we mentioned before the show, stuff like that. That type of stuff gets built on a blockchain. That doesn't mean it has any. There's no way to back that kind of stuff. It's like building. What's a good way to put it? Like it's Amazon Web Services on steroids. It's
What if?
GCP on steroids. It's a. Go ahead.
What if? Because we're not through this whole document yet. But
It's
what
true.
if? This is throwing it out there because it has to have people, come up with, no, this is here, this is, I don't know, I'm just kind of like, there's more to this than just this, because in some of their other documents they were like for
Yes.
it as long as it was backed by something
Specific, yes, as long as, well, that's what I'm trying to say.
now.
How do you?
Right. And then I had somebody point out, was like, well, is there a double negative in here somewhere? She goes, because a double negative makes it a positive. So if we look at how are they writing this, that it could potentially be something like that. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to really kind of dig into this, because if they're referring, and it says here, they're referring back to the monetary, the very
With
first
exception
resolution.
of. So, whoops. Says all cryptocurrencies, digital money, including fiat currencies and fiat payments, clearings. So, platforms, so trading platforms, including any technology, including blockchain technology. That again doesn't.
Okay, but see now, if you scroll down under the exception of, they've repeated it.
So
See, there it is.
Any clearing platforms, clearing systems based on any technology, including block technology, as well as cryptocurrencies, including cryptocurrencies, which secured by the world banking currency.
So there's something embedded in these documents. So I wouldn't get too.
I'm not really worried about it. I'm more just kind of like, okay, so that was A. So so this is A, secured. So one, it has to be secured by this. And here's B. I'll let you go ahead and take that from there.
Have the official permission of the main historical bank, the main regulator of the entire world banking system, the general manager for accounting, control, and management of all world financial banking assets of the World Sovereign Bank of the Order of Hospitallers, resolution of the Sovereign International Bank, Monetary 1, number 19, dated September 23rd, 2022, and a special certificate issued by the World Sovereign Bank of the Order of Hospitallers, which is published on the official website of the World Sovereign Bank of Order of Hospitallers, blah, blah, blah. Signed by the chairman of the board of the World Sovereign Bank, so on and so forth, His Majesty Alexander Paramanov.
2.
Recognized outside the divine law of creation and outside the law, land, air, water, prohibit to exist in the entire world. Global deception, the so-called rights or false rights of ownership of the land by the so-called sovereigns and landowners. False sovereigns and false landowners, such as dark nobility, Jesuits, Illuminati, cabal, black, and other colors, aristocracies, except for the white aristocracy, the Black Sun cult, except for Sun Knave, the criminal cult called the Order of Set, except for the real god of Set, the light, a criminal, illegitimate, and outlawed government, false government. So they're going through that whole litany again.
And the U.S. corporation.
And all these corporations that are illegal or outlawed, and as well as their branches and structural divisions of these so-called sovereigns. Can you scroll down? if you can.
Sorry.
That's okay. False sovereigns such as, oh, here we go. False sovereigns such as the Romanovs, Windsors, Bruces, Massimo, and others. British Crown, Scottish Crown, Liechtenstein, and others. Oh, they're going after some big guys. The divine and historical right to ownership and careful management of this land in the entire world of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, Rhodes, Malta, the Supreme Sovereign Order of Hospitallers, as well as the confirm the Great Legal Sovereign Act, the Universal Charter, historically signed and approved, given by the Grand Master and Grand Commander of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, Rhodes, Malta, the Supreme Sovereign Order of Hospitallers by Alexander the Great, on the bequest of the whole earth for eternal times in the entire world space to the Slavs. That is the Rus, Rusiks, the Assis, and the Aryans. Those are all the Tartarians. That's all Tartaria.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
We hereby confirm the divine law of creation and democracy on all lands in the entire world. We hereby approve the Supreme Council for the supervision and execution of the divine law of creation and principles of democracy, represented by the World Council of Sovereigns, consisting of the sovereign order. So it goes through all the sovereigns. Monetary one, the great sovereign country, the Union, Soviet Socialist Republics. And actually, it's not socialist, because when my Bosnian, he actually said it in Russian. It's like the United Soviet States, Ruski, and he kept going. He was like, really, it's just, Russia was like the United States. It was a republic. Soviet International Consumer Cooperative, Great Light Russia. Wow. International Consumer Cooperative, right? Yeah. Holy cow. World Sovereign Bank, His Majesty. Goodness, excuse me. In execution of this decree, all international and state counterterrorism, legal law enforcement organizations, all military organizations of the army of the world, all valid orders, all masters. Holy buckets. Y'all can read that one. That's crazy. All world spaces. Ave, Neve, Slave, and Prava. In pursuance of the all light, all heavenly, all divine providence, all great divine righteousness, the great cosmic forces, all divine armadas, all divine fleets, as well as the great fleet of Ra, immediately begin to implement this decree in terms of its full implementation to all bright humanity and international subjects of law, organized on the basis of the celestial principles of democracy and observing the celestial principles of democracy. Sovereign International Monetary One strongly recommends to conduct a self-organization procedure in their country in order to manifest the supreme people's power of the sovereign and return the sovereign states of their motherland for a light, peaceful, and creative development, universal love and friendship throughout the world. The Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One recommends a competent and light approach to the issue of self-organization at the system level. The Sovereign International blah, blah, blah. One wishes all countries, all clans and tribes, all nations of the world, of all bright humanity, the speedy restoration of their bright home under the sovereign flag and the sacred name motherland in the universal creative construction of our bright world as the universal native temple. Interesting. And so let me see. So Sovereign International Monetary One confirms its statement and in the future to impartially and correctly fulfill its light mission to restore justice and build the all light, all heavenly system, which should and will faithfully serve the bright humanity and consequently all God, all creator, all creative family of the Supreme as the all one heavenly, all to God, all to the creator, all creative of all existing and non-existent in the creation of all light and all great, all heavenly. And that last word is Russian, and I have somebody who's going to translate that for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
And here's all of the
seals
symbols.
And signals, signatures.
Yeah. So, and there's their UN ID. And like now these decrees don't have that UN number like the resolutions do.
At the top, you mean?
So no, it's at the end where it's a UN number 521730. So that was another number that I was going to investigate because all of these are doing something.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, if people just recognize, if you're just, tuning in, because I actually have stopped people. Well, Biden, blah, blah, blah. I was like, stop. That's not real.
Yep. It's not.
So
People got to
what
recognize that.
what within you is wanting to get
Right.
to get worked up? What part of you wants to be worked up? How about you grab your beverage, throw something on the grill, pet the dog, tell your spouse you love them, and talk about your day. What would you be doing if there wasn't all of this noise? Would you be conversing?
Yeah, most likely. Most people would be, but they don't. They're so caught up with everything that's going on.
Which comes right out of that book.
Yeah. It's designed to keep you distracted, y'all. Just turn it off, step away. This is, part of the reason we like to just go and unplug so much as a family. We just go and unplug. It just get out of it. It's everywhere.
So all of, we'll keep on, bird walking and unraveling stuff, but it's all going to be okay. And somewhere in here, I could have swore I saw that they do have an end date. There is a sunset date for this system, because everything you have a business plan. It starts here and there's a sunset date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll figure it out when we get there. We'll go through all of them. That one just dropped. Just kind of figured, okay, that's interesting. Very interesting around the cryptocurrency thing, especially since it's near and dear to me. Everyone, you guys are listening and whatnot. I'm just curious around net new systems going forward or platforms going forward. I kind of feel like some of that terminology was like, you can't. I don't know. Maybe if they ever see these or watch these or whatever, I'd love to chat and see where you're coming from, because some people are out there building things, and it'd be awesome to kind of say, hey, don't do it that way, do it this way, so that way it continues, that way the time's not wasted and stuff like that. So, but anyways, I digress.
Well, and notice how that the litany is written one way and then it's written a different way. So that's where I started keying in, like, let's
be double negative. I don't know. We can dig into it.
Yeah. So we'll take our time, but I would just be kind of like, I would say hold that one lightly and really stay in the middle.
Yep. For me, this whole thing has been that way. It's just been trying to learn and pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Sharon, thanks for coming on as always. And look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I will be right back. Y'all have an amazing rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.